Okay, so if you're here, you're in our push group. Our push group has been awesome. A lot of you are up with Lauren or I at 6:30 a.m. to do our big old morning Zooms. So thank you for being a part of this. You've got 17 VIP leaders in this push group, and we are just excited and blessed to have all of you guys here. We're exuberantly blessed to have Stefani Dunn here with us, and let me introduce her real quick. I kind of got to know her back in St. Louis, and y'all, she loves people. Like, she made me feel so welcome. It was my first VIP event ever since I went triple, and I was so stinky nervous. She was like, girl, don't be nervous. And then that's how we became friends, and she's just so down to earth. I love her. She never forgets where she came from, and that's one of the things that I love about you. And let me tell you, she went Black Diamond in 12 months. No, and that's another thing that I love about her too, is because she has a story. So all of us who are climbing this ladder and we feel like these urges to quit or back off or life happens, life was already happening to Steph and Joel. And if you'll touch just a little bit on where you were first, because you guys, I want you to pay attention. And I want this to ring really loud in your ears, is that life happens to everybody, but you get the choice to choose how it's going to end up. Steph.
Yeah, so I didn't happen to go Black Diamond in 12 months. I didn't know I was going to do this business 10 years ago. We were just drowning. We were going through bankruptcy. Life wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I think, we may have this picture as kids, maybe in high school, wherever that is, of having this life and marrying perfect man or whatever we think. And it doesn't always turn out that way. And when I met Joel, I remember, I loved him. I still love him. Don't get me wrong. I still love him. He's my best friend. He's so good to me. And I didn't think we were going to go through all the financial issues right away. Our first years together was so hard. I was like, I didn't sign up for this. This isn't what I thought was going to happen. But we were both always looking at how can we make more? If somebody could just show us something. We knew there had to be something out there. I mean, people were making money. We just didn't know what they were doing. And so when we got started, we were actually going through the bankruptcy, losing our home. That was the one thing that we did save, but I still have my food menus. Our car got repossessed. I actually just talked a little bit about that. Me and Joel were talking about that not that long ago, because sometimes it seems like it was so long ago that you forget some of those moments that have happened to us. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot. I remember when they came and repoed and I had to take all of my stuff out of the glove box. And, people didn't know that. It's not like I voluntarily told people what was going on, but we all have a story of some sort. Maybe it's you have a good job, but you don't have the time. We didn't have either. We didn't have time and we didn't have the money. But what I knew is I wanted to make money. I knew in the back of my mind always from a young age, and you guys are in the VIP, so there's a piece of you that you wanted to make money. Somehow in there, you've been designed in there to know that you are worth it and that you can do anything. And so when we did this and we found it, it wasn't like all of a sudden we just skyrocketed. We sucked. Like I just said on the Zoom, we didn't know what we were doing, but we were willing to learn and to work it and to follow in the footsteps of the people that did it. And I think that's why you guys are on the Zoom. And I think you're probably having other leaders and stuff get on. I'm not sure, throughout your time that you're doing this, but you want to find out what was their mindset like. How did they do that? How did they get to that income level that you guys want? And so that's what I did. I didn't start thinking about that kind of income until I really went to my first conference, until I started listening to stories of regular people that got to work. And with work ethic, you guys can outwork me. Any one of you can make more than I can. And that's what I love about It Works, is the comp plan is just amazing, that when you show up and you're doing the work, you're going to get to where you want. And so don't lose sight of that, of what you want. You've got to be bold to put out that number to do it. And so mine was $1,000. And I think that was being bold back then. That's what we needed. And then from there, it was 10,000 a month. And then from there, I thought, why not make 100,000 a month? You guys have seen it, so why not more? And so that's where you guys, as you're growing as that leadership, your mind matters so much. It's so powerful, and it can either take you down or it can propel you into more. And so, of course, it was hard, and it's still hard. I get people, like somebody commented today on a post that was so mean, and I was like, the heck, just go away. I don't need that, and so there's days where I just want to like take a knife through the computer and like slice them, like.
Does anybody else feel like that all the time?
I mean, I don't get it. Their life must just suck. I mean, mine sucked. At least I was willing to watch the people and to ask the questions. And so during this Zoom, you guys, if you have specific questions, don't be afraid to ask. That's the one tip that if I could go back and tell everybody is ask the question. That's what I did. I drove people probably insane. I would just go, well, how did you do this? And be specific, like take me to kindergarten level and make it very specific and easy for me to understand. And really it was sign distributors, sign loyal customers, and fill the boxes. I was like, okay, I will teach that. And so we went from, hitting that 1,000 to 10,000 to then a few years later hitting the Black Diamond. So we did that all within 5 years. And so we've been at Black Diamond for 5 years now, which is crazy.
Number one.
Like, how did that happen? Like,
I'm a big fan.
It's just nuts. But what people relate to is the before the Black Diamond, not the now. And because they think it's a scam. There is no way, nobody's ever going to make more than you. It's just crazy to me. So I really like to talk about, when I'm talking to them, the $10,000 bonus. Like, that's something that is doable. Even $1,000 going, I got started to make $1,000. I can show you how to do that. And why not talk about the 10,000 with the 4 months? Like, that's just an amazing thing.
And guys, if you are where we were, here's the thing that you have to understand. You have nowhere to go but up. That's the thing that we had. We had nowhere to go but up. And then once you get through it, don't be afraid to share it, because there's going to be strength in your story. Mm-hmm. And when you've gone through something like that, like we did, it doesn't matter how far removed you are from it. What that experience does to you is it seems like yesterday. I can remember going and standing in food lines as if it was yesterday. And that's what continually drives us. So the thought process of, one, we're never going back there again. And two, we want to make sure that anybody that's in that position has the power to get themselves out of it so they never have to go back to that again. Mm-hmm. So when you're sharing a story like this, when people are like, oh, 6 figures a month is just unbelievable. Yeah, well, that's unobtainable. And then we tell our story and they're like, yeah, but that was so long ago. Guys, it feels like it was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something. Did you start sharing your hardships quickly? How long did it take you to start sharing the real?
So I remember this so vividly that I remember hitting double diamond. So I'll take you guys back. We got to diamond, and I always spoke, I'm almost a diamond, because people would ask me what I was, because I did a lot of expos and a lot of parties. There was no online back then. So they would ask me, what am I? And I would always say my next level of where I was going, because I could give them, an idea of what they made. And so I always said that, but we got to double diamond, and then it collapsed. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, this is terrible, but I need to tell my story. I was at a point where I was confident that maybe I could relate to someone. We, had saved our house a little bit. I felt like nobody shared with me or knew how badly we needed income. And it was like a light bulb went off, and I was like, I have to share this. And the moment we did, our business exploded. And so, here, thinking back, if I would have shared what we were going through a little bit earlier, I feel like, God, this business allowed me to pay for gas. I didn't talk about that because I didn't want people to think oh gosh, they've only got one car, their other car got repossessed. You know, okay, this week, those fast starts paid for groceries. We didn't have to go to the church lines. And
you
so
should have saw the amazing bullet-ridden car she drove around in to do parties. It was just, I feel embarrassed for her that I let her out of the house with that.
It was, we had to do what we had to do. But those are the things that, you know, as going back, why it's important to tell our teams, hey, it's those little things, those little wins that lead to the big wins. And so that is one thing that I wish, and I still instill in people, like as I'm talking to a newbie, it could be $25 wrap cash. Like $25 would have lasted us a whole month for groceries, right? So we don't know where somebody's at. So talking about the little, talking about the bonuses, everybody's different. And sometimes it's talking about the freedom of time. I didn't see Joel either. So the freedom of time to be with the person that I love means so much more to me too. Like we could have had a lot of free time, but where would we live? And so having the ability to have both is so important to so many people.
So, Steph, you're both great with people. And as you're talking to people daily, whether it's on social media or it's face-to-face, do you have specific things that you look for? And if so, what is your PDT interview as you're talking to people about the business? What does that look like? Who are you looking for? Or are you just taking anyone?
Are you awesome?
So I was like, I'm curious what Joel will say. You guys may be surprised by my answer.
This is going to be the magic right here. So make sure you pay attention to what she has to say. This is going to blow your mind. I know what you're going to say.
I will let anyone do this business because I don't know if they're going to be the rock star or if they're going to lead me to the person that will be the rock star. I'm going to pick on Nikki a little bit because years ago, Joel worked for New York Life. So when we got this, he actually had to quit because they wouldn't allow him to even buy product because of the industry with dealing with people's money. And so he had met some people through New York Life, which led to me signing somebody up in Boston. And I thought, this girl knows everybody. She's going to be amazing, you know, but she was not it. But what that did, she signed up Nikki Fountain. I still say Mooney because that's how I know you, like in my phone. But I flew out, not necessarily for her, but I made the connection. I remember talking to Nikki on the phone and just speaking life to her, probably if she remembers that very first phone call. I remember where I was driving, where I was going, and knew there was something special about her. And I made it and went, I'm going to go and help her. And now she's a triple diamond, almost a presidential diamond. She's an amazing person. I've seen, you know, her grow and be changed. A picture popped up from years ago, Nikki. You were working at the bar just over 4th of July. And what this business has allowed her to do brings me so much more joy over what we've done. And so you don't know who that person's going to be. And so if you look at it like somebody can say all day long that they're going to be amazing, but until they do something, you're a number to me. And that sounds bad, but it's truth. It's something that we got to get them doing because the doing is what we know brings in the customers and distributors. And so communication, making sure that I just messaged a girl that signed a few weeks ago. I said, hey, I told you to drive me crazy. I want to know. Don't you guys all want to know if your distributors are engaged with you? The more interaction you have, the more likely they're going to stick around. And so making sure that, you know, you guys are doing that. I saw in the comment, how do you do with so many people? You got to find what a number is that works for you and be upfront with that distributor enrolling guys. Let them know the more that you drive me crazy, the more that I'm going to know who you are, the more that I'm going to pour into you, the more that I can work with you. Does that make sense on, you know, how do you know who to work with? Then as you're growing, qualify them too. Are they just talkers? Are they just asking you for more, and they're not doing the work? They're not, you know, having the result? Like, okay, they'll say, I've messaged everyone. Well, how many have you messaged? Can you screenshot that? If they are like, I have, here's some messages. This is how many I've done today. Then I know we just have to reword it. Maybe you need to do a 3-way call with me, or, what is it that we can do to work on that?
In order to qualify your time, you have to get really good at separating the winners from the whiners. And the way you separate winners from whiners is you hold them accountable. So if you've got a bunch of people that are always asking for your time, well, then you need them to prove to you that they're actually worth spending time on. Are they working? Just like Steph said, are they posting? Are they showing you messages? They have to be able to show you that they're willing to do the work. There's a principle that's the 80-20 rule. And you spend 80% of the time on the 20% that actually do the work. Well, what happens is most of the time you're spending 80% of the time on the 80% that don't do anything. So it's a flip-flop. So you have to get really good at figuring out who are the workers and who are the whiners.
I love this question, Joy. I'm going to just kind of bounce over and look at this and answer it for you. You guys, it's so good. I don't have a lot of strong leaders, so trying to help so many people by myself. I think we're always going to feel like this. In every stage, we're going to feel something like this at some time. But how do you drop? She doesn't want to drop the ball. So there's so many lost puppies and newbies who need me all at once. I don't want to disappoint anyone. So again, letting them know right from the beginning to drive you crazy. Do you have a team page? This will help also. So what I've done is in there, I let them know you're going to want to text me the question, especially newbies, because that's where you guys know that majority of people are going to ask you probably the same 100 questions. But what this does is I let them know, ask the question in the team page, and here's why. There's going to be natural leaders that start to answer the question for you. So now you can start seeing, oh my gosh, who is this person that's been answering these questions for me and helping me out? That's a leader. That should give you a flag of, you need to let them know that you notice them. So that's really going to start developing some of that layered leadership. And I push people out quickly, guys. Like, I want them to fly on their own. I've never said, oh, this is my team with Nikki. This is her team. She's done an amazing job. Like, I want to make sure that they take ownership right away and that they start creating that layered leadership. So that's a tip, Joy. Go back to them and just let them know, hey, guys, I'm going to do a contest, and we're going to see who the top people are. And you guys can see this, that comment or post in your team page. And maybe send them something special or get them on a special Zoom, but helping you out kind of answer those questions. Does that make sense? Hopefully that helps.
That's a perfect segue into one of the next questions is, so your new distributors, how do you train them? Because you say you push them out quickly. So how do you do that?
So I've had this a few times, but we know that how their mindset works is they need to see money. Most people need to see something in order to stick around. So how do we do that? Getting them to post right away, giving them that host to post, me maybe being the one that's answering that so that they can see it. Do an Instagram hack. This is something that I had never thought about till this year. Was I used to go and do parties for people, my downline. It didn't matter because volume is volume, right? It is your business. Mm-hmm. And so I would do the party and they would listen because they weren't confident yet. They didn't really know what to talk about. So why can't we hack their Instagram? Have them set you a temporary password for 3-5 days, whatever that is. And you go and post and message people like you're them. You're not going to know who not to message because they may be afraid of, oh gosh, this is a doctor. They're not going to want the time. You don't judge, right? You're just going to do it because you're a leader. You know where you're going, so who cares? And then what happens is they may see you answering. So again, if you're crazy busy, this might not be a good fit for you. But if you're feeling like I have the time to do it, what a great way to really help kind of boost them or see how you talk to them. And now they can see that response for you.
Yes, that is so magical. Okay, so you I'm so
End of Zoom.
I don't know if it's the keto coffee or way too much TFX today. Okay, so you sign quite a few people, LCs, DTs every month. How do you stay organized?
So I'm chaos organized. My system may
Controlled
not work.
Chaos.
Yeah, work for you. I actually am just like, man, I wish I had a better system. But I don't have a good answer that you guys are going to like. What works for you? I know that I have to go back through and just message people and just look through and get back to them. And so I know Thursdays I like to message people and really follow up with them. I don't care if maybe tomorrow I'm going to follow up with everybody because we have a promo going on, right? So I don't care how many times I've talked to them. I'm going to let them know about it again. Is it for new? I guess that's the question.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just like, okay, this is what I want. And I write it down and I do the work until I hit it. I don't stop once I hit it. And so that might be like, I was stressing out. I love 4th of July and being able, and holidays, and be able to spend time with my family. But I get so stressed out because I'm not talking to people. I'm not doing work. And so I think the sky is falling. I was like, oh my God, nobody's doing anything.
Yeah,
my business is full of shit.
I haven't enrolled anybody in the world.
I'm not going to requalify, like all these thoughts, and I suck as a leader. Nobody's doing anything. They're not following my lead because I haven't done anything. And so it's okay. You get back into your routine. So you sucked for a day, a week, a month. Guess what? You can start again today. So don't beat yourself up. We're all going to go through these phases, and then you're going to get back on track. So I was like, please let me sign a distributor up today. I was like, I don't know how many people I'm going to have to message, but dang it, I'm going to do it. And so I know that when I put the work out there, I get the results that I want. And so
she said, I do it till I hit it. So I'd be up for hours, but it's worth it. It's worth it when you're number one. So how do you set that monthly goal? When you look at your business and you're like, okay, is it I want to build a ruby this month? Or is it I want to build a diamond and promote that diamond? How do you look at your organization and say, what is my monthly goal? Because we know you want the $1,000, but it's gotta, come on, girl. I know you do more than that.
So my number's always been 10. It's just something that I've always had and the reason why it's 1,000, because it's attainable for me to realize like I can do this. And if I hit it earlier, I don't stop. Okay. So 10 is my number. Yes, it's $1,000. Could I help somebody build a ruby? Yes. Cause I want to teach them the steps too and help them gather their customers and distributors. I don't set myself up like I want 3 rubies. I never have. This is just me being completely honest. I want them to, but I know I want new recruitments. I want new blood because it keeps you excited. And so if you have that number, whether it's 3, 5, whatever your number is, you need to know what gets you guys excited. Is it helping someone join the business? Is it gathering customers? What is it that, and it might not be anything like that. It might be the training part of it. I don't know what that is, but for me, I know new gets me excited because they don't know it's a slow season or they feel like it's a slow season, right? And so what that does is for the people that have been around, they're learning from these newbies. They're seeing the excitement and going, I need to find a newbie to bring in to create the fire and the momentum. And so I don't want you guys to stop from that.
So let me elaborate that quite a bit because of the fact that you're probably missing the magic of that. So let's go back to the I want to build a Ruby analogy. Well, what if to you building a Ruby means signing up one distributor and then helping them get their 3 and their customers? Well, what have you done? That essentially for the month, you've only enrolled 1 distributor. What are the odds of your business compounding exponentially if you only sign 1 distributor personally a month? The odds are very low. So how do you ramp up momentum and compound math? By consistently trying to hit high enrollment, then developing those that are actually working in between those enrollments. Because I guarantee you, if you set a goal of 10 a month and you hit 5 a month, that's 60 new distributors versus 12. Do you think the odds of you promoting faster with 60 distributors versus 12 in a year? And then the compound of that the following year? See, what happens is people limit themselves to small numbers because they think it's unobtainable. But if you shoot for the stars, guess what? You're going to hit the stars because they're all out there. Mm-hmm. And what I want people to understand is it doesn't have to be 10 like Stefani. I think a good rule of thumb for people that are just getting started is working backwards. Stephanie has always worked backwards. Okay, so she wants 10 in a month. So she breaks that down to a weekly goal. Mm-hmm. So that's about 2.5 distributors. I don't know anybody that's signed a half of a human yet, but when we find out how to do that, I'm sure we will be doing that a lot. So what she does is she tries to average 2 to 3 a week. If you break that down into days, that's 1 every other day or every 2 days. Now, I say bare minimum, you guys should shoot for 1 a week. So if you're dividing that out, how easy is it for you to contact as many people humanly possible to have somebody join your team by Wednesday if you start on Sunday? Mm-hmm. Are you getting what I'm laying down? And now guess what? Just because you hit that one person at Wednesday doesn't mean you take the rest of the day off. Mm-hmm. Guys, there is no finish line with this. This is a journey. This is a constant. You can finish when you die.
Now, I don't hit it always, guys, but
that's exactly
you got to hit it.
But with Stephanie, what she does is if she doesn't hit it, she stresses out because now she's got to do twice as much next week. Just because you didn't hit your 1 this week, oh my gosh, that means you need to do 2 this week because you don't get a pass on it. So when you start developing that mindset and you keep putting that stuff in action, guys, after 6 months of that mindset, you'll be unstoppable.
Mm-hmm. And not just the motion. I think that's what we get caught up in is doing the stories, doing the post, and not understanding that I'm actually doing a lot of asking. You know, I don't need to post a lot because I'm not afraid to ask. Like I haven't died. So, you know, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to keep asking because they're going to respond somehow. And you can even, you know, I've heard this years ago is, am I offending you? Because they'll probably respond to that. And if they're not going to be part of your business, you can always take them off and add new, but you need to make sure that you're doing that. So Joel is right. I break it down week by week. So if it's 10, I want 5 by the 15th. If I know I'm going on vacation and I want to enjoy it, I'm going to work and spend a little bit more time before, or I'm going to get up early on my vacation so that I've put in the work to make sure that I'm not just not doing. So does that kind of make sense too? As you guys know, there's going to be life that happens. So kind of prepare too, knowing that you're going to have things happen that you weren't planning for. So do the work when you're tired, when you feel like I don't want to do anymore, because that's sometimes when that tomorrow happens when you get sick or your car, you got to take it in. You can't get on your phone. You're at the dentist, whatever it is, there's going to be something. And so if you're just doing a little bit extra that way, that's going to help with planning and figuring out your time too.
And the quote that I said,
do you know who you're talking to, by the way?
On the Zoom before this.
Triples and above. Okay. I wanted to make sure.
You need to get this thought process down. I'm going to do for myself today what is going to enable me to do tomorrow what I couldn't do for myself today. Mm-hmm. I'll say it again so it makes sense.
It's posted on my wall.
Okay,
somebody posted it.
Okay.
Yeah, just go to my wall.
Just go to her wall.
He said it on our Zoom.
But the thing is you don't know what tomorrow is going to be set up for if you don't do it today. Mm-hmm. If you leave what it is for today till tomorrow, you've missed an opportunity.
I'll answer this just because I'm scrolled up, and then you can ask me the next one. But most of the time, if you just say like, "Can you set me up a temporary password?" They won't. They'll just give you your password, and then you could just be done with it. It just settles their mind. Like, oh, because some people are like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want them in my Instagram or my Facebook." But sometimes people are like, "Well, here it is," and they just go from it. Here's the thing too that I want you guys to do is you may not have the time as that leader, but what about that diamond that has more time than you? And you know that they're great at sealing the deal. Give them the ability to do that in their downline to help that ruby or emerald, because there may be a distributor sitting there that has a whole slew of friends that could be your pocket for a host to post because you got in and or taught your diamond or whatever to kind of do an Instagram or Facebook makeover. Does that make sense? So there's times where I feel like maybe I'm slower in my business. So I don't do that January, February, like March. That's just not going to happen. But if I have more time, say right now or December, then I want to be able to utilize my whole team, those groups that I'm trying to kind of help or they're feeling frustrated, maybe they lost rank, but they have a team under them, that we can say, hey, I know what's coming. I'd love to give you a Facebook makeover and see what you can do to help them. Does that make sense? I want to make sure that you guys know. I don't want you feeling like, oh my gosh, it's so much extra work. But there's times where, again, that layered leadership, talking to those leaders that you trust, that God, they'd be so good at sealing a deal for their team.
I love it, because then they can see exactly what you're saying and go back and just mimic all that. Now, we know the biggest way to continue our business is our mindset. So what are your favorite ways to feed yourself? What are the podcasts? What are the books that you read, and how often and how long?
So me and Joel are two completely different beasts when it comes to this. So Joel can answer first, because his will be like a whole dang book of what he does. Because you've done this you want to actually turn on the light because it's getting dark. Will you answer? I'm going to have Joel answer. I'm going to turn on the light so you guys can see us. Okay, go ahead.
Hi. So personal development and mindset has always been a big thing for me, because of the fact that if you guys think about it, you are at where you're at because this is the best information that you've had for yourself to be able to get to where you are. The only way to get past yourself is to get more information that's higher than your current situation. So if you're not doing something consistently to grow yourself, your team won't grow. I say if you grow yourself, your paycheck will grow. And the reason why is because you'll only be able to lead as many people as you have the capacity to lead. So if you're feeling stuck, it's not because of the fact that you're not getting enough people in. It's because you haven't developed yourself into the person that can lead that large of a group. That's why whenever I talk about, hey, I want everybody on here to be a millionaire, not for the fact that I want you to have $1 million, but because of the person you have to grow into to be able to deserve and have that $1 million. So it comes down to do something for yourself daily. 15 minutes is all you need. And I would try to do it first thing in the morning. I would start with personal development, a devotional. Gotcha.
Water.
Who is it? Can't find
Your other stuff.
Click on participants. It'll show up in the corner, and then the microphone you'll see, you can mute it. Boom.
Okay. We should be good.
Okay.
So the 2 books that I would recommend for all of you where you're currently at is 1, Becoming a Person of Influence by John Maxwell. Because leadership 100% is influence. So you have to learn how to develop influence. And then book number 2 would be Developing the Leader Within You 2.0 by John Maxwell. Then the 3rd after that is Developing the Leaders Around You. Those would be the 3 things that I would look at. Because of the fact that first you're going to have to learn how to gain influence so that you get people to follow you. Now that you've got some followers, well, now you have to learn how to lead them. Well, you can't lead them until you learn how to lead yourself. And then now you've got a bunch of people, so now you have to learn how to teach them to lead other people, because you want to have layered leadership. You don't want to be the magic. You want the system to be magic. So you get other people trained to train to train. So that's the 3 books that I would say, if you've not read those 3, pick them up right away, read them, and then all of a sudden you're going to have so many ahas and your team's going to go huge.
Mm-hmm. So Joel does a lot more reading the books. I'm like, just give me your nuggets and I'm good.
I give Steph all the cliff notes, and then she takes all the credit for all the amazingness.
I just have a cliff notes, please? But he's great because he's always doing Audible. So that's something, as we're talking to teams, if you would have said to me when I first started, you got to do all this reading and be this leader, I would have been like, screw it, I'm quitting. That's not who I was. That's not what I thought I was doing. I didn't want to be a leader necessarily. I just wanted to make money. And so, but what I did know is I wanted to listen to the people that had success. And so when I started going to conferences, I kept listening to what they had to say. I listened to the calls. I'm like, that tip's awesome. I'm going to try that. It may not work for me, but I'm going to get it to my team or have them try it. So I've always gone to the people of it works because they're the ones doing the work to have the success. So I've always done that. Of course, who you surround yourself with. And, you know, as I look back through my past, my life was not always easy, or I think, how am I still alive? I've made some really bad choices in my life that I think, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that we have a God that forgives us, because it was just not the person that was inside of me that I am now. And so when you have somebody like Joel or other people that speak life over you and believe in you and constantly say that, you start to believe it. You start to believe the things that, you know, you are designed for. And so making sure that you are listening to the right people. If you start catching yourself talking about the things that aren't working in your business, or, oh my gosh, the sky's falling, it's going to start to go that way. And so that's why, you know, when people are like, oh, my volume, I want to talk about it's going to fluctuate. It's business. There's not, I mean, unless you're Apple, and they probably have dips too, but you know what I mean? Like, this is a business, so it's normal to have a roller coaster of a ride. And I don't think we talk about that enough.
Yeah.
And right now, you guys, mindset is huge part of training our teams, because we came off on a super high, right? Like January, February, March, April is everybody's looking, you guys are pushing. And so they may go, now what? And they think, okay, well, I'm just going to quit. And we don't want that. We need to let them know what's coming, focusing on the vision, planting the seeds. That might be the time of the year. So we need to make sure that, you know, you're talking to leaders. When you're listening to someone, are they speaking what's working? So who are you listening to? Where are they going? How long have they been in? You know, those kinds of things. And you know, for me, I always read something, just a quick Bible verse or something right away. So I always start my day with something as simple as that, just to keep it right, because the moment that I don't is usually when I open up my text messages that are negative, like, you didn't tell me there was an auto ship. And it's just like, let me look in my messages. I'm pretty sure that I did, you know, like I get those. And sometimes it's like, why did I get 2 in a day? Like, it goes through, I'm like, I'm doing good. You know, so making sure that you are prepared, that there's going to be people that are just mean, and it's not always going to be easy. And I think we do paint this picture that it's easy, and that, you know, leaders don't rise and fall. Like, it's part of it. And when you know that and understand it, it won't bother you as much as if you didn't understand that.
We have one more question before, and if you guys will mute yourself, because it's not letting me mute for some reason. One more question, because, and honestly, we have a lot of people on here that aren't triples. So we've involved our teams. So
okay. I thought it was triples and above. Okay. Nope.
This group is triples.
I was like, you've got 138 triples? That's amazing.
Woo! No. It's 17 triples and presidentials. We have some ambassadors, I believe, but this is a push for our team.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute that person. Hold on, I can't find it at all. But we do have some people in our downlines that, Steph, they're doing all the right things. They're doing the right things. They're messaging, they're posting, they're adding, and they're 3 months in and still haven't signed a distributor. They are sending messages. Hold on, you guys. This person's not even showing up here. But they still have not signed one distributor, maybe not even customers. And so they're getting discouraged, which honestly I understand. So how would you redirect them in that sense? And hey, everyone, will you check your phones? Because it doesn't have a person's name with this. If you will please mute yourself. Everyone check your phones, please. It's Z986DL, please. Lindsay Smith.
So Joel would probably say different books then, if I know. I'm sorry, I thought it was triple. Sorry, guys. So
no, you're good. This is
all triples and above. So that's just the way it goes. So that's just
congratulations, well promoted.
All right. So, I think about this a lot, and it takes time for people to build confidence. Not everybody that gets on a bike is going to take off right away. Not everybody that gets in this business is going to be saying the right things. They're doing the work, but it's in their confidence. How do they believe that this is going to be it? And looking at, what are you posting? Is it like just it work stuff in your face? Are you interacting? Are you asking the questions? What are those questions that we're looking for? So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so if you're doing these steps, these things that, listening to the right things, your mind is going to start to shift. You're going to start believing it. Speak it out loud that you're a customer gathering machine, that you're a distributor gathering machine. I believe that this business will change your life. I believe that I was worth fighting for, sweaty pits and all, going into places, talking to people, thinking, I don't know what the frig I'm talking about, but I need to make money. And so somebody's got to feel this way, that they're going to want this product that works, or they're going to think, I would love to make some money and get results too. And so do you believe that? 1,000,000% belief. And if you need to borrow it, get with the person that enrolled you, or upline that can do maybe a 3-way call. Look at those messages, and are you really evaluating yourself and looking at the work that you're doing? Like, again, you can say, well, I've messaged everybody, and you've only messaged 10 people. That's not everybody. Who's your circle? Are you doing expos? Are you blitzing people? I don't think anybody blitzes anymore, honestly. I'm like, yeah, I loved it. I walked into places with no coupons, with no It Works shirt, and just walked in and started talking about it and said I was a rep for a company called It Works. Have you ever heard of it? Like, why can't we do that? So there's so many avenues that you have to find that what works for you. And it may not be social media. It may be you're such a good people person that you need to be in front of someone. Have you asked people to host a party? Like, really, have you asked? Probably not. I mean, most people are so used to having this screen now. And I love social media, don't get me wrong, because I'm like, man, I wish I would have had this when I first started. This is great. Like, I can literally do this from anywhere. Where before I was working, then going and doing parties. Like, I was nonstop, guys. So what are you willing to do to get the results that you want? And really write that down tonight. I think that's important, that you know where you're going, because if you don't, you're not going to get there. So just kind of evaluate and really take that time to do that, but then have someone look at it for you. I think that's important.
And the other thing too is, Steph said this earlier today, is take quitting off the table.
Mm-hmm.
The moment you take quitting off the table, you will start to do amazing things. So what if it takes you 9 months to sign a distributor and go executive? What happens after 18 months when you're triple diamond? Does it matter what happened in those 18 months? The fact is you're triple diamond now. But if you gave up before then, if you quit or had the idea that you were going to quit because it's too hard before then, you will never strike gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've read this too. Once you give it up, you can't get it back. And I think people just give it up. Like, you hit your goal and then you're just like, all right, that's it. Well, think about that. Really let that set in. Okay, hit it. And now you're just kind of going to give it up. You're going to coast. And there's only one way to coast, and it's downhill. And so I don't want you guys to get complacent with, you hit that rank. There should always be a new goal, a new month of, I want 10. And that could lead to something else. So make sure that you guys are really doing that too.
Everything worthwhile is always uphill both ways.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? When you get uphill, you make more money the higher up the hill you go. So why would you ever want to go back down the hill?
And here's something too, because mindset is a lot of this business. And it's crazy because once you do figure that out, I look back and think, oh my gosh, I didn't know about the product, but I had to figure it out. And that was the way that I learned, and I got more confident and stuff. But change the way that you look at things. And so somebody that, maybe isn't having the results that you have, say that you're going to get the results. Have you become a better person? Have you lost weight? That's a great indicator right there, is maybe you haven't got customers because you're not utilizing the product and getting personal results to share about that. Because when you have a personal result, everybody asks, what are you doing? You may not need to lose weight, but maybe you're looking for energy and you're talking about all the health benefits that I've done for you. So make sure that you're doing that. And then what I believe about life is what I will receive from life. So what do you guys believe? What do you believe that your life's going to be, and then receive it? And so I hope that those kind of little nuggets helped you with your mindset a little bit. And I wish somebody would have shared that with me earlier on. I mean, I did have Joel, but we just continue ourselves to get around people that say these kind of things to us, because we're learning. We're constantly learning. The industry is changing. Social media is changing. And so if we don't learn and grow, we're going to be the ones that are coasting. And I don't want to do that. I want to always be learning. And it's exciting. It should be constantly exciting and being like, well, shoot, that worked or that didn't work. I need to tweak that. And sometimes, you learn to enjoy, like, okay, it's a challenge, right? Like, okay, how can I do this and really make this work? Like Instagram wasn't my thing, and now I love it. And so it's just, embracing it and realizing you're going to continue to get better and better.
Your goal should be to never be the smartest person in the room, but be the most optimistic and excited. Mm-hmm. Same thing on your social media. I didn't freeze.
Oh,
that's all there was. That's all there was. Everyone was waiting for more. That was it. Truth bomb, done.
How many of you got so many nuggets? Put a 2 in the comments. I have several iPad pages full, but I want us to end with 2 things. So I want to go off what Steph said. She says, if you give it up, you can't get it back. I want to turn that kind of in reverse. Quitting's off the table. But what I also want you to do is what I did a couple weeks ago in Mobile. I had an audible conversation with God. A lot of you know this. And I had to give up control. I had to give up fear. I had to give up doubt. Because what I'm going to get back, what I've already got back, is a strength and a belief in what he's given me to provide for our family, what he gave me 4 years ago. Yeah, you know what? We talked about it. I've lost rank, but it had to happen. Stephen Furtick talks about that. It had to happen so that I would let go of that control, let go of that management mode, because I feel it. Do you feel it coming back 10 times stronger? I know our push group leaders have felt this. It's coming back 10 times stronger. So give up that control, that fear, that doubt. Give it up, and God's going to give it back to you tenfold in blessing. Steph and Joel, thank you so much for spending your precious time with us instead of the glorious Pam Souter. Thank you so much. Thank you for being our friends and encouraging us every time that you see us. You guys, they are valuable. Watch their Zooms. Man, y'all set such an inspiring example. And what I want to say to both of you is thank you for never forgetting where you came from, because to us, the tears that it brings to your eyes, the credit that you give God, is what this company is all about. And we just appreciate you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. I can't wait to see you guys just have an amazing week. Go use those 50% offs. Like, that's so exciting. So, all right, keep pushing. Keep pushing.
Bye, guys. Have a good night.
You guys.
Bye. Thank you.